There are few pens that have transformed the landscape of the pen world, but one of those is absolutely the Kaweco Sport. Made by Kaweco in 1911, this pocket-friendly small pen was designed to be carried anywhere. And to this day, whenever someone mentions small pens, the Sport is a necessary mention. The Kaweco Sport is a great pen that writes well, slips into your pocket and disappears, and has been a huge success for over 100 years. Because of that success, there are many competitors out there in the market that have tried to capitalize on that and make their own design of this type of pocket pen. But have they done a good job? Have they actually killed the Kaweco Sport? Today we're going to find out. So today I'm going to show you 8 Kaweco Sport killers that absolutely do it even better than the Kaweco Sport. Hey everyone, I'm Dave with Beast Made Reviews, of course a channel dedicated to reviewing quality at different price points. Truth be told, the Kaweco Sport is a great pen that doesn't need to be killed. It's worth owning on its own. And from time to time, I'll make this style of video where I talk about a leader in a specific space and mention alternatives that may do it just a little bit better than the actual leader. So today I have 8 small pocket-friendly pens that I think do it even better than the Kaweco Sport. And if you like this type of content, pens, EDC, gear, fashion, anything in between, why don't you consider subscribing down below? I think you really like it here. And if you're interested in any of these pens, including the Kaweco Sport, I'll have some links down below, and those are affiliate links. Anytime you buy through those, they will help support the channel, and I always really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And as a little gag, I have some stickers and some shirts with the correct pronunciation of this pen brand, Kaweco, of course. Alright, now let's go ahead and get straight to the review. Now, regardless of your preferred pronunciation of the Kaweco Sport, when forming this video, I had a couple of criteria to narrow it down. There are so many great pocket pens on the market. I really wanted to narrow down my choices to pens that really competed with the Kaweco Sport on a couple of different features here. So my first criterion was that it had to be pocket size. Now that's obvious, but it also had to be designed to be stored in your pocket, but no integrated attached clips. Pocket pens only. My second criterion was that it had to have a fountain pen option. My third criterion here is that the cap has to be postable on the back and has to be full-sized with the cap included when writing. And my last criterion here, which is the absolute hardest here, is that it has to be no bigger than the Kaweco Sport when it's capped. Now before we get to the killers here, let's do a quick recap about the Kaweco Sport and its specs. The Kaweco Sport has so many different versions and varieties, colors and materials, but the version I have here is the resin or plastic version that was a Goldspot exclusive. It's a beautiful purple resin with gold accents and I love it. As I've mentioned, it's a great pen that writes really well. It's very affordable, stores in the pocket, disappears there. It's a great pen. The length closed is 4.17 inches. Then of course you take the cap, you post it on the back and it becomes full-sized. The length then is 5.27 inches. The diameter is 0.51 inches, and it has a weight of only 0.3 ounces. And I know there's a huge fan base for the Sport, but let's get to the first competitor here. Alright, starting the list off with a bang is the Colotino fountain pen. Now this is a new pen find for me, but I found this on the site Top Drawer that has really cool high quality products there. They have great pens and notebooks, shoes, a lot of other accessories there. Great site, definitely check them out there. The Colotino, absolutely a must-have pen for me. This is such a cool pen. Now this pen was conceived by Tino Valentinich, I think is how you say it, famous industrial designer from Vienna, Austria, and it was in collaboration with Peter Dunn, the founder of Colo. And this was a huge surprise for me. When it arrived, it's been hard to even put this down. It's such a great pen with so many features that I love about it and hardly any faults at all. This has become one of my favorite pens and it does so many things right. And when doing this review, it was genuinely hard to find many faults with it. Now the length closed is 4.15 inches. You pull the cap off and then post it to the brass standoff on the back. It's a push-pull friction-fitted cap, which is oddly satisfying to open and close. And then the length when posted is 5.38 inches. Diameter is about 0.5 inches. Weight is 0.74 ounces. This one is made of acrylic, though they have other metal options available. The color is cabaret. This comes with a canvas pen sleeve, which is nice. It uses short standard international cartridges, and one is included. The nib is a Schmidt number 5 size nib. Mine is with a medium point. It has a plastic feed, a brass section, and standoff to post, and this is made in the Czech Republic. Now, as I said, there's so much to love about this. I love the size and weight. I love the materials, but most of all, I love how functional this is. Push and pull cap, easy. Push and pull post, great. Easy nib, easy cartridge, and best of all, it has a triangular design with flats on the side. So whenever you set it down on a desk, it's not going anywhere. It's honestly a simple design that is pretty ingenious. I think the one thing that I have a quibble about is the section itself. It's a little bit short and maybe a little bit on the thin side. And in general, I don't like it when something metal threads into something plastic. That can just make more friction over time, and I don't know how long that will last for the plastic. I wish there was a metal insert on the inside here. But that's a very, very small quibble here because this feels great when writing with it. I love how balanced it is and how weighted in the hand it is. Everything about it is so well thought out. It is such a great pen here. Now for the writing sample here, I'm using Tamar Wine Red by Van Diemen's, and I really like this red a lot. I've seen reds like this before, but I do like how kind of wine red this is. It's nice here. The nib is great. It's very smooth and very tuned right out of the box. Occasionally I've found that with some inks it might not start right away, but it hasn't really bothered me honestly, and it's every once in a while. Now, compared to the Kaweco Sport, this gets really interesting. I think the dimensions of both of these are pretty close, actually. The Colo Tino is heavier, but not in a bad way, and I do prefer the weight and the balance of the Tino over the Kaweco Sport. I prefer the push cap, I prefer the nib, and though it's not perfect, I really prefer the section. I really dislike the small, uncomfortable grip section of the Sport. But the Sport is lighter, if you like that. It has an optional, somewhat crappy converter, and an optional, somewhat crappy clip, and because of the faceted cap on the Sport, it will stay put, but not as well as a Colo Tino. Colo Tino just thought about everything and did things a little bit better. Overall, the Colo Tino is genuinely one of the best small pens I've ever written with. It's such a great feel in the hand. It's perfect at home in your pocket or on your desk, and I love almost everything about it. Other than a few quibbles here, it is incredible. Definitely check out the Colo Tino pen. Excellent pocket-friendly pen. All right, next choice here is the Kaweco Lilliput, Kaweco's other pocket-friendly pen. And I didn't realize this until writing this review, but the Lilliput actually precedes the Sport in release date. This was made in 1908. Really old pen. But in many ways, I think the Sport has surpassed the Lilliput in its popularity. There are definitely a lot of people who love the Lilliput. It's a great pen. And it's very small. I mean, it's probably one of the smallest pens in this list. Yet despite the size, it is still pretty comfortable to write with and allows you to have a mostly full-size pen when posting the cap on threads on the back of the pen. The length closed is 3.82 inches, and length posted is 4.96 inches. Diameter is 0.39 inches. Weight is 0.56 ounces. This one is made of aluminum, though there's other materials as well. The color is black. This uses short standard international cartridges. One is included. It has a Kaweco nib. Mine is in broad point here. It has a plastic feed, and it's made in Germany. Now, the Lilliput is love or hate for a lot of people, depending on how you use it, and mostly depending on how big your hands are. And for me, this is getting into the small territory. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me to use for long periods of time, mostly because I have large hands. But it does write really well, and for short periods of writing, I think this is a great pen. But anything long, like writing the script, and then it starts to get a little bit uncomfortable. The section is a little bit small and thin, and the overall pen is pretty thin. So it starts to feel a little cramped in my hand. But of course, other people have smaller hands, and the size is an actual benefit for this pen. It's really tiny and very, very light. When you put it in your pocket, it actually does almost disappear. You don't even know if you have it. A couple of times I've had it in my pocket and I thought I lost it. But then doing a double check and triple check, sometimes it's still there. It's just small. It's very lightweight in your hands, so if you don't want anything really heavy, this is a great choice. And I think one other criticism I have of this, I don't really care for the threads on the back of the barrel there. Screwing that in, I almost always miss the threads the first chance, and then I have to go back 2 or 3 times and attach the cap there. It's not difficult, it's just annoying sometimes. Now for the writing sample here, I'm using Kaweco Pearl Black, and I actually really love this black ink. It's a great saturated black ink, and when I look for a black, this is what I want. Maybe it's not the most hyped ink in the world, but it's a terrific saturated black ink. And of course, as for the pen and the nib, I love it. It writes so well. I really like the broad nib on this. It's very juicy and generous. It's not too thick. It's nice and wet. I really like this nib a lot. Now, comparing the Lilliput to the Sport, these are very different on one hand and similar on the other, but I can see why Kaweco kept both in their catalog, and I can see why both are very popular. The Sport is a great middle ground of size and small frame, while the Lilliput is as small as it can be. The Lilliput is smaller by all metrics and is lighter as well, but still uses the same nib, same converters, same cartridges, and for quick convenience, it's really hard to beat the Lilliput. Overall, I really like the Lilliput. I think it's a great pen, and if you're looking for something that wins on size and weight, there's probably almost nothing that beats the Lilliput. For such a small pen to convert to a full-size pen and write so well as it does, it's truly a marvel at this style of pen. I can absolutely see why people love this pen. I can see why there are so many die-hard fans. The Lilliput, I think, in some ways, really does kill the Sport. All right, next choice here is the Tom's Studio Pocket Pen 2.0. Now, Tom's Studio is another huge surprise for me, and this was not even on my radar. They make exceptional pens, and if they're anything like the Pocket Pen 2.0, then I think you're really in for a treat. One of the interesting things about this pen is that it has a ton of colors you can choose from, and not only that, you can mix and match all the colors of all the parts, section, barrel, and cap, giving you a ton of creative freedom and options to get the pen that you really want. It's a great design, and it's very simple with a large cap that pulls off the barrel and then posts on the back of the pen to become a full-size pen with the cap held by O-rings. Put the cap back on, and the same O-rings hold it there too. Really cool. Now, some of the specs on this: length closed is 3.54 inches, length posted is 5.12 inches, diameter is 0.39 inches, weight is 0.88 ounces. This is made of anodized aluminum. The color I have here is Ivy, which is a really nice green color. It uses short standard international cartridges, and one is included, and a really cool syringe to put ink into the cartridge. They have several nibs to choose from. They're all full-size number 6 size nibs, and I actually got the Architect double broad nib. Now, I love this pen. This is another one, huge surprise for me. I really love the design of this pen. Very simple, elegant, and I think ingenious in a lot of ways. First, I love the cap. The cap has a faceted design with some flats on there, and that does help it from rolling a little bit, though if you bump it, it will roll. One small feature that I actually think was very well designed here is they put a little tiny hole on the cap itself. That just breaks the suction, so the cap doesn't just stay there forever, and you have to sit there and kind of like Excalibur or something like that. Nice touch. I love the grip section. It feels phenomenal, and it doesn't have a lip or edge to it. Very smooth and comfortable. And I love the feel of the anodized finish here, which has a little texture, and it also looks great. The pen feels fantastic in the hand, and it writes superbly well. And it will do so for longer writing sessions and feels great for those. And when writing, you really forget that it's a pocket pen. It feels full in your hand. Only have one big complaint here. I really wish there were more standard colors. They have a lot of colors on their website, and Ivy was one that I really liked, so I think this is a really good color. But that was generally the only color that I liked out of their offerings. There's no real good blue, there's no good red, no good black, kind of standard colors for pens. But that's a minor quibble here. Another thing I really love about this is the nib, and the nib that I got here, of course, is the Architect double broad, which is phenomenal. Now for the writing sample here, I'm using Ivy Green from Papier Plume, and I really like this green. It's a kind of a bluer green with lots of shading and a great green color. And let's talk about this nib. This is the Architect double broad nib, and I absolutely love it. This is the first time I've had an Architect nib, and I'm sold. This reminds me a lot of when I was in high school, writing with a mechanical pencil. The nib feels great. It's mostly smooth with a little bit of feedback, and it's very wet, very satisfying to write with. Really like that a lot. Now, comparing this to the Kaweco Sport, this really surprised me in a lot of different ways. The first thing is just the size. Whenever you cap the pen, the cap is actually pretty small compared to the Kaweco Sport. But when you take the cap off, post it on the back, it's really large. Definitely larger than the Kaweco Sport when posted. Feels great. Feels much fuller in the hand as well. It's heavier than the Sport, which gives it a better balance, and I love the quick on and off cap from the Pocket 2.0 as well. The nib itself is larger and is a better nib in general, and though mine is kind of a specific tip here, I really do prefer this nib overall. And I love that there's even an option to get this in an Architect grind. For me, I just find this Pocket 2.0 to be just way more comfortable than the Sport in every single way. Overall, this is just an amazing pen from Tom's studio. It really blew me away. For a pocket pen, if you have larger hands, this feels so much larger and substantial in your hand, and that's a great feature. It is a joy to write with and is a great option if you want to have a pocket pen. The weight and dimensions are still really great and ideal for pocket carry, and overall, this is just a phenomenal pen that for me beats the Kaweco Sport in every single way. I do hope that they come out with more colors, because I think if they expand their color range, they're going to get an even wider audience, because this pen is absolutely incredible. Definitely check out the Pocket 2.0 pen. All right, next choice here is the Benu Pixie. Now, Benu is a brand I've mentioned a few times on the channel. I really love them. They have such a unique aesthetic for their pens, while also making just really great functional pens. They have a kind of cult following in the pen world. They make pens that are kind of flashy with cool colors and glitter. They have some hand-painted pens as well. They make great pens. And one of their latest pen releases is the Benu Pixie. And as you can see, just by looking at it, you can see why I had to put this on the list. It's their smallest pen that they offer, and just look at it. It's their version of the Kaweco Sport. It really is. But it's also, I think, a very artistic expression of the Kaweco Sport, while also improving some of the flaws in the Kaweco Sport design. Now, I got this pen in a 3-pack of Pixies, and this 3-pack is an exclusive on Benu's website. But they also sell these individually, of course, in other colors and on other reseller sites as well. Some of the specs on this: length closed is 3.58 inches. It's a twist-off cap, and you push it to post in the back of the pen, and the length posted is 4.72 inches. Diameter is 0.75 inches at its widest. The weight is 0.5 ounces. It's made of acrylic resin. The color I'm showing here is called bronze, but the set is called metallic dust, with a trio of metallic colors. It uses short international cartridges and includes one with each pen. The nib is a Schmidt No. 5 size nib with a plastic feed. Mine is in a medium tip, and with the set, you can choose a specific nib for each pen. Now, I love this pen, but I happen to really love the Benu aesthetic, and that may be the sticking point for some people. That also might be the deciding factor for some people. But Benu has a ton of colors of these pens. Some are more extravagant than others, while others are conservative. Mine is somewhere in the middle, but there's something for everyone. But one thing I will say is that though there are many colors for the single pens, the 3-packs don't offer that many colors that really appealed to me personally. A lot of them were very pink. The pen itself writes very well and feels great in the hand, but it is on the smaller side, even for this style of pen. For me, it's just barely long enough to fit in my hand comfortably. But it is lightweight and balanced. But what I like most about this pen is that the section is a little larger and more comfortable than you might think. And the nib is smooth and just great. Now, for the writing sample here, I'm using Molten Bronze by Endless Alchemy. This is a very nice medium golden brown. I really like it, but it can be a little on the dry side sometimes. Now, the nibs on these pens I think are great. Benu always does their nibs so well. It's just smooth enough with a little bit of feedback. It feels great. Now, compared to the Kaweco Sport, you can definitely see a resemblance here. This is kind of like the short, stubby version of the Kaweco Sport in a lot of ways, short and thick, and it's all blinged out. It's got all of the shiny. Now, this is smaller than the Sport, and it does feel smaller, honestly. But it's also wider and more comfortable in the hand, and the section is much better, and it's larger, and it feels better when writing for long periods of time. So ironically, even though it is smaller, you actually can write with it for longer periods of time than with the Sport. Now, unlike the Kaweco Sport, the Pixie does not have a flat, and it will roll, which does bother me. Now, the nibs are smaller than like a full-size pen. This is a No. 5 size, but it's still about the same size as a Kaweco nib, but the nibs from Benu, in my experience, are much more consistent. They're always dialed to a perfect middle ground of smooth and feedback, with great ink flow, and Kaweco is all over the map. You never know what you're going to get. I think the Pixie is definitely a more artistic version and is mostly an improvement on the design, even though I kind of wish it was slightly larger. Overall, I really love the Pixie. It's a fantastic pen. I've been writing with this for a few months now, and I really love it. For a pocket pen, it is very flashy, and if you take this out of your pocket, you're gonna get some comments. But the writing experience, the quality, the craftsmanship, the art is exceptional. I love the unique look, and when you find that perfect color that really speaks to you, you'll really get it then. Definitely check out the Benu Pixie. All right, next pen here is the Gravitas Dinky. Now, Gravitas is a pen brand I've mentioned a few times on the channel, and I love them. I think they have one of the coolest, modern-looking pen brands on the market. They make exceptional pens. They're designed in Ireland, distributed through PenVenture in Europe, though Farney's in the USA also sells these as well. Now, this is a very tiny pen, and it's a scaled-down version of their pocket pen. Their pocket pen is almost identical in the design, just a little bit larger, and is about the same size as the Kaweco Sport. I do wish I could have added this to the video, but I do really like this Dinky a lot. And I think the Dinky and the Pocket are just killer versions of this design. The design influence is obvious here. There's somewhat similar inspiration for the cap and barrel proportions, but the Gravitas is so modern and cool and just has that gravitas. You can screw off the cap, push it to post in the back for an almost full-size pen. But what really sets Gravitas apart is their grip section, which has milled lines for texture and just feels great. And this is made of Ultem, so you can eyedropper this. And I don't know where they're getting their Ultem, but their Ultem on their pens looks incredible. It's the best looking Ultem I have ever seen on a pen. Now, some of the specs real quick. The length closed is 3.5 inches. Length posted is 5.06 inches. Diameter is 0.39 inches. Weight is 0.26 ounces. Of course, this is made of Ultem and natural Ultem in this case. And this can use short international cartridges, or you can eyedropper the pen, fill the entire barrel full of ink with no alterations to the pen. It's ready to go. This has a Gravitas branded nib. It's a full-size number 6 nib with a plastic feed. Mine is in medium, and this is also compatible with other Jowo nibs. Now, though I haven't tried the original Pocket, this Dinky is incredible. I love this small size. There is something about it that is just the perfect size and weight for something being this tiny. You know how sometimes you see something small and it just becomes kind of cute? There's something about this size that is like that. I don't know. It's super small and lightweight and really does disappear in the pocket. And having an eyedropper ready pen that is also a pocket friendly pen, I think is a great option. I love that. I love the full-size nib here. You don't expect that, and it writes and feels great. I love the look of this pen. I love how sleek it is, how modern it is, and I love the writing experience too. The nib feels great. The weight feels great. It's a great size in the hand, very lightweight, and it still has a good balance as well. And as I mentioned before, the grip section feels great. I love the texture and the milled lines here. It really does make a difference. Now, this is a thin pen, and when writing, you do feel it. The other thing that bothers me a little bit is the cap. Whenever you post it, it doesn't really post very flush with the barrel. It tends to kick up slightly at an angle. And mine hasn't popped off, and it still works, but it just kind of looks a little bit odd sometimes and feels a little bit funny. Now, for the writing sample here, I'm using Whiskey by Robert Oster, and I love this ink. It's such a great whiskey brown, golden, amber color. It's a perfect whiskey brown color. It's got tons of shading. I love it. Now, the nib is great. I really like it a lot. They tune their nibs so well. It has just a little bit of feedback, but it is still mostly smooth and has great ink flow. Now, compared to the Kaweco Sport, you can obviously see there is an inspiration here, and I like that. I like that they took the inspiration there and just improved upon it, kind of smoothed the stone and made it their own thing. It's a more modern take on the Kaweco, and I like that a lot. This also is smaller, much smaller than the Kaweco, and in some cases I think that's a pro, and then sometimes it could be a con for some people. But even though it's smaller, it writes a lot better. It has a full-size nib on this that is just dialed. The grip section is way better. It's a lot more comfortable and larger on this one and has that nice texture here, whereas the Kaweco is, I think, terrible. And the cap is a little bit fiddly on the Dinky whenever you post it, so that is a kind of quibble there. But the biggest upside to the Dinky is you get an eyedropper right out of the box. It's ready to go. You just fill it up and go. Great design. It's a fantastic pen. To me, I consider the Pocket and the Dinky an homage to the original Kaweco Sport while improving almost everything about it. This Dinky is just so small and pocket friendly. It is truly an exceptional pen in every way. Definitely check out the Gravitas Dinky. All right, next pen here is the Gravitas Quark. Now, Gravitas has designed a number of pens, and they didn't just stop with their Pocket and their Dinky. They also have the Quark, which is their absolute smallest pen that they offer, and it's incredibly small. Now, when looking at the Quark, it definitely shares a little bit of similarity to the Kaweco Sport, but I think it shares a little bit more with the Kaweco Lilliput. But this is my show here. And as I mentioned, this is the smallest pen that Gravitas offers. This pen is so small, so thin, and so light. And then when you unscrew the cap, you can take the cap and screw it on threads in the back of the body to post it. And this has a metal grip section with those Gravitas milled grooves on the outside there. And then the pen itself is made of Torlon. Torlon is another composite material. It's made of Teflon mixed with graphite. It has great lubrication, chemical resistance, and wear resistance, and even better in some cases than Ultem. And they say you can eyedropper this pen, and I believe them. It's just that it's just opaque. I don't know if I would in this case. Now, some of the specs on this: length closed is 3.25 inches, and then the length posted is 5.25 inches. Diameter is 0.4 inches. Weight is 0.28 ounces. It uses short, standard international cartridges, or you can eyedropper it. It has a full-size Gravitas nib with a plastic feed. Mine is in medium, and this is compatible with Jowo nibs. Now, like the other tiny pens from Gravitas, I love the size, the features, and the function of this pen. I love the design, and I love the details. It is incredibly lightweight in the hand, but that metal section is kind of a nice kind of counterweight that leads the pen forward in your hand and feels great. And like the Dinky, it also feels pretty thin whenever you're writing. And of course, as a pen itself, it writes very well, as Gravitas always does. Now for the writing sample here, I'm using Colorverse Antimatter, and this color is okay. This is it. Here it is. It's okay. I really don't like it. But I do like how this pen writes. It writes very well. It's got great ink flow. I love the tip on this. And as I said, it's dialed perfectly. I'll just change the ink later. Now comparing this with the Kaweco Sport, this is thinner, lighter, smaller than the Kaweco Sport. The nib is better, the grip section is better, and as a pocket pen, the cork is so small and light that it's perfect for everyday carry. And since this is made of Torlon, it's way tougher than the plastic that's on the Kaweco Sport, and it just writes and feels far better. Overall, the Quark is a must-have for pen aficionados. If you want that small pen that is as small as it can get, as lightweight as it can get, and is even better than the Sport or even the Lilliput, the Quark is a must-have. It's a little bit harder to find because you can only find it in a couple of stores worldwide, but it's worth the hunt. It's worth the chase. Definitely check out the Quark. Incredible pen. All right, next pen here is the Schoen Design Pocket 6. All right, if there is one pen that I am most known for on this channel, it's got to be the Schoen Design Pocket 6. Probably the most mentioned pen in my channel. I put it on numerous pen videos and lists because it just works for everything. And of course, this works great as a Kaweco Sport killer. Now, Schoen Design is an American pen company making everything in the USA, and they have a few different pens in their line, but maybe chief among them, to me at least, is the Pocket 6. And this is probably the most perfect pocket pen ever made, and I'm not exaggerating. It's a small, minimalist style pen that turns into a full-size pen when posted and has a full-size number 6 nib. Maybe one of the first pocket pens to do that. I love this pen. I take it everywhere. I've taken it everywhere. It's always in my pocket. And I have put some miles and some use on it. And even though I have used it so much, it is no worse for wear. You can barely even tell that it's used, which is a real testament to the design and quality of Schoen Design. This always starts, it writes perfectly, and is incredibly comfortable to write with. Now, some of the specs on this: length closed is 3.55 inches, and length posted is 5.2 inches. Diameter is 0.5 inches, and weight is 0.5 ounces. This one is made of aluminum, though they offer various metals and finishes for barrel and section. The color of this is black, with a plain aluminum section. This uses short international cartridges only, and they put some in the box. This uses Jowo number 6 full-size nibs, though mine came with a Bach medium nib at the time, and then since then I've switched it out to a stub nib from Goulet pens. Now, this is such a great pocket pen, and is really one of the best pens I've ever owned. One of my personal favorites. Maybe the favorite. Mostly because this is just so reliable and so functional. I love the simple, clean design. I love all the O-rings in all the right places that make the seals ease into place, but also keep the nib from drying out. And if I'm really trying to find something to critique here, I would say that the design is more on the functional side, but not a very pretty design necessarily. It's simple and utilitarian. And though the base model of this pen, the aluminum version that I have, is fairly reasonable in price, this can be on the more expensive side for the other finishes here. Now, the writing sample is an old one, and this is footage writing with the Monteverde Black ink, which is one of the cartridges provided by Schoen Design. And to be honest, I hate this ink. I don't know what ink ink cartridges Shown Design provides now, but these Monteverde black inks are terrible. They definitely need to change it to diamine or something else. But the nib itself is fantastic, and it writes so well and feels so good. But in my opinion, there are just few pens dialed in this perfectly. Now, comparing this to the Kaweco Sport, this is almost not even fair. I personally think that the Pocket 6 just blows away the Kaweco Sport in every single metric. But comparing the two, comparing specs, the Pocket 6 is thicker, it's shorter, and it's heavier, but it has a much larger nib, a much better section, and is a far better writer. It feels better in the hand, and it writes better on the page. Overall, the Pocket 6 is just different. It is a work of art, but not in the more artistic, flashy way. It's a work of art in the functional way. It's like the apex of function in a pen. And if something were to happen to this pen and I lost it, I would buy a replacement on the spot. It is the perfect pocket pen, and for me, I only appreciate it more and more each time I use it. I've had a couple of opportunities to write with really, really expensive, nice pens, and to be honest, the Pocket 6 beats them each time. It is perfection. Definitely check out the Pocket 6 by Shown Design. All right, last but not least is the Shown Design Small Tim pen. Now, not too long after the success of the Pocket 6, Shown Design started making pens with engineered plastics like Ultim and Peak. And then they made this, their Shown Design Small Tim Pocket Pen. And as you can see, it has a very similar form factor to the Pocket 6. There's a little bit of a design change there, but overall the function and features are pretty identical. And they call this the Small Tim pen. Small, which is slang for small or short, and then the Tim, of course, comes from the fact this is made with Ultim. And like the Pocket 6, this is an incredible pen. Now, some of the specs here: length closed is 3.7 inches. You unscrew the cap, screw it on threads in the back of the barrel, and then the length posted is 5.45 inches. Diameter is 0.558 inches. Weight is 0.4 ounces. This is made of Ultim, natural Ultim, and there are other materials as well, like black Ultim and Peak. This can use short international cartridges, or it can be eyedroppered, and cartridges are provided. This uses a full-size Yovo No. 6 nib. Mine is in medium, and they also have a rollerball option as well. I love this pen. You take the design of the Pocket 6, and then you make it an eyedropper, and that's where the idea really came from. This gives it an ease of use and utility that rivals almost every pen on the market, and Shown Design did an excellent job putting all the O-rings in here. It has O-rings everywhere, and it really seals up tight. The pen feels great in the hand and just writes so well. Now, for the writing sample here, I'm using Shoreline Gold by Private Reserve, one of my favorite gold inks. It's really more of a yellow-orange and really isn't a true Shoreline Gold. If you're a guitar player like me and you hear Shoreline Gold, you think of Fender. This is not that, but it is a great orange that doesn't dry out. Great ink. The nib on this writes fantastic, and as I've mentioned before, Shown Design works some kind of magic with their nibs because they always start, they always write, and they always write well. Now, comparing this to the Kaweco Sport, I just think this blows the Kaweco Sport out of the water in so many different ways. This is like the Superman version of Clark Kent, I think. I think this just smokes the Sport. And because this is even lighter than the Pocket 6, making it nearly the same weight as the Sport, and because this is eyedropper ready out of the box without any modification, unlike the Sport, and because the nib is far, far better, this is not even a fair comparison. The Small Tim is leagues ahead of the Sport. Overall, the Small Tim is also pocket perfection, and in some ways has really improved the pocket design, definitely an improvement over the Kaweco Sport. And because these two pens, the Small Tim and the Pocket 6, are so similar, I don't really think it's necessary to own both of these. I think you can have either one and really truly be happy with each pen. And yes, to answer your question, yes, that's the correct choice. The one you're thinking of is the correct choice. The answer is yes. To wrap things up, the Kaweco Sport is still truly an excellent pen, and I really do love this pen. And if you watch this far and you still prefer the Kaweco Sport, I think that's fair and that's understandable. But in my opinion, I think each of these choices that I've mentioned here are just options that truly outshine the Kaweco Sport. But I would love to know your thoughts. Are you sticking with the Sport, or are you going with one of the choices I've mentioned in this video? And again, if you like any of the choices that I mentioned here, definitely check them out at the links below. And if you like this video and want to go watch some videos on Lamy killers, you can go up there or go check out my video playlist all about pens right up there. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave with Beastmade Reviews.